This is Roswell, New Mexico. It's a town of aliens with little invaders decorating the streets, the walls, even the McDonald's. My uncles and I were on a road trip and ended up abducting ourselves in this small but memorable town. I'm Scoutmaster Demi. This is Roswell. Right away, we were greeted with a massive alien holding up a sign. Since it was morning, we weren't in the mood for ice cream, but my uncles and I tried the Dunkin' Donuts. There were aliens all over the shop, and I think you can guess what the Baker's Choice donuts look like. Green with cute artwork, they look good from afar, but I think as the worker abducted them, our poor donut aliens crash-landed with smushed faces. Still, they were soft and tasty. You might be wondering by now, why aliens? Well, back in 1947, something downright bizarre crashed on a Roswell ranch. The government tried to pass it off as a weather balloon, but eyewitnesses swear they saw something they couldn't yet describe. This was the first official sighting of a UFO, an unidentified flying object, and ever since, Roswell has fully embraced aliens and tourism. For example, the local McDonald's is no mere building, it's a giant UFO. A hand-drawn mural and silver aliens decorate the outside, and a space-themed playground decorates the inside. Do you remember the McDonald's crew back from when McDonald's was actually targeted at kids? The gang's all here, suspended in space. Birdie flies a French fry rocket. Grimace does Grimace things. I think the Pink McFlurry thing is called a Fry Girl, and of course, Ronald McDonald, the astronaut, floats in the center. The vibe of this whole UFO restaurant is retro sci-fi, and I hope that never changes. When was the last time you saw a playground at McDonald's, or glowing alien lights, the kind that kids used to have in their room? I certainly did. This place brought me back to a whimsical time, like, look at this sci-fi mirror that makes your head grow. Look at this high-tech device. You can place your order without waiting in line, and these little squares can be scanned with your phone. All jokes aside, this UFO McDonald's was the big hoop. For context, my uncles and I had watched the total solar eclipse in Texas. That's when the moon completely covers the sun. The next time that'll happen in the US, by the way, 2044. The eclipse was an otherworldly experience in the best way possible. Heck, we've got a whole video on it you should definitely check out. And as we road trip back to California from New Mexico, we love that Roswell could continue that cosmic feeling. The town is mostly cute. There are little green men all throughout the area. That's a real term, by the way. An LGM, or Little Green Man. That's also where the Pokemon LGM comes from. Roswell is full of fun, quirky things. Have you ever seen a horizontal traffic light or spicy alien jerky? It's also where one of my top Disney characters used to work.
CIA, Roswell, 1973.
There's so much alien history in Roswell that even Lilo and Stitch refers to it. And if you enjoy alien history, you'll love this place. The full title is the International UFO Museum and Research Center. Half of it is fun and quirky, like this display of Destroy All Humans, the PS2 game, this kitschy painting, these vintage alien cars, and the famous Thinker statue, except a little bit different. But the other half of this museum is serious, dead serious. I'm talking rows of files and documents, all alphabetized and arranged. I'm talking first-hand accounts, many of them. Military personnel history. I'm talking mandibles that alleged experts have no ID on. It's an uneasy feeling. And even in the display areas, which do have fun photo ops like being on the cover of the Super Nintendo game Earthbound, it's still quite serious. The way they laid things out in this museum is quite smart. They lured us in with the cute budget dioramas just to slam us with this overwhelming set of events. The panels get really detailed. They talk about all sorts of things like the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You've heard of that, cool name, right? But it turns out it's actually a real expression on a scale where the higher numbers mean you're closer to the action. So, for example, a close encounter of the first kind is seeing a UFO. The second kind has physical evidence of the UFO. The third kind means you can see what's inside the flying saucer, and the fourth kind is straight up abduction. Then there was a panel on alien implants by Daryl Sims, who claimed to have been implanted himself as a child. He did speak at an American Medical Association conference, so there must be some sort of validity to his work. I mean, in 2 medical cases, there were researchers who found materials inside the alien implants that were related to rare meteors. If that makes you feel uneasy or skeptical, rest assured I feel the same way. But don't worry, because right after that, I saw the alien memes dude, like the actual guy. He was talking about how a Mayan engraving on a tomb was not symbolic, it was literal, and that it depicted an actual spaceship. There was a 3D sculptor who had a team and spent over 3 years bringing this vision to life in color. I will leave the interpretation of that to you, dear listener. I did enjoy the media area, like this vintage movie poster for The Day the Earth Stood Still. I was most surprised to see a section on Kyle MacLachlan. He's a big part of Roswell, the TV show, where he plays both a younger and older man, or at least that's how it seems. I've never actually seen it. I know Kyle MacLachlan from my favorite TV show, Twin Peaks. Last week we visited the real-life Double R Diner from that show, and I'd highly recommend watching. It was a darn good cup of coffee with a slice of cherry pie. And hey, if you enjoy this content, definitely consider subscribing. I make a new travel video every Tuesday, so come join our campfire. Anyway, we ended the UFO museum by discovering the solar system. Unfortunately, this alien tech was so advanced that our feeble human computers weren't able to run it. My uncles and I then headed to the gift shop, which was full of all sorts of fun merch. I personally grabbed a Roswell pin for my Scoutmaster hat to add to my collection of memories. Then we left Roswell for the world's largest pistachio, and no, I'm not joking, though there is more to that story. But before we head there, how was our time in Roswell? What did we think? It is a touristy spot that's caught between multiple worlds. You can see things both high production and things built on a budget. You'll feel both charmed and unsettled. You're on the planet Earth, but your mind drifts beyond the stars. For what it's worth, I don't have a good answer on whether aliens or UFOs exist. I have a healthy skepticism, but I'll admit the sheer quantity of things to ponder from the museum does make me wonder, as does the mysteriousness of places like Area 51, or even the more recently declassified documents surrounding UFOs. And though we'll never know what truly happened at Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, I can tell you what happened in Roswell in 2024 was a great time. I'm Scoutmaster Demi, and we'll see you next week.